beste On3 Radio. Alle Stars, alle Interviews in voller Länge.
What makes London so kind of attractive for musicians?
It's hard. It's a hard life there, and I think when there's a city that has a hard life, it always seems to produce underdogs that triumph. You have to struggle a lot harder. There's a really great underground scene there, and things catch on, and there's a sort of really, I don't know, there's a vibrant underground arts culture and fashion and music, and it's always been like that, and I don't know why or where it comes from. London historically has always been an exciting place if you're an artist or a musician. I don't really know why that is, but
is it the music industry?
I just think it's a massive big city with loads of people, like New York is, when you have that many people and that many businesses and that many artists, you're going to have that many record labels and that many radio stations and that many magazines. It's kind of a hub of, it's a capital city, so that's kind of what happens,
people start things there, they don't follow. And I don't know why that is, and it's the same in New York. For some reason, it gives you confidence to start something rather than follow.
I think a lot of people start things in really small towns, places, and move to New York and move to London. I mean, I hated where I was living, and I knew that I was going to leave at some point, but I was in the middle of school when I left. Yeah, I mean, I moved when I did.
I would like to talk about your kind of creative process. Is there anybody who's the boss or who's driving? Is there any role model between the both of you?
No, there's no boss. We're both Sagittarius, and we're both obstreperous, argumentative and pig-headed and stubborn, and we don't have a routine in any part of our lives, which I love. Probably more than Alison does, but I like that. I've always been like that, and it's precious in creating songs not to have a routine or a way of doing it. There's those bands that kind of come across a sound and they stick to it and do it really well, and I really admire that. But for some reason, I've always been excited about pushing this into pushing the music into places we didn't know, and I'm excited about that. Sort of trying to discover new ways of being the Kills.
We get inspired by all sorts of things. There's just no way to pinpoint a process. We don't really have one.
I think we do it in a very awkward tornado kind of way. Like most bands can play you a demo of the songs they wrote for their record. We can never do that, because we're too impatient. We never finish songs. When we demo them, they're always like half ideas bashed out on a one-string guitar or something, or just some clapping with some noises that aren't even lyrics, there's things like that.
Do you argue about musical problems a lot?
Music problems? We don't argue about music too much. We argue a lot, but we never really argue about music.
We argue about the band, because everything we do now, it's not just in like the strumming a guitar or singing a song. The Kills is in everything, from the cooking to the cleaning to the walking down the street to paying the bills. Yeah. We argue about that shit all the time.
But how do you get along when you're arguing? You just kind of going each other way, or just close the door for a couple of minutes, or how do you solve problems?
It gets to a volume where you can't shout any louder, so you kind of have to use your brain a bit more.
I was really wondering whether you would wear your brilliant leather jacket today, but you got a Parker, a German flag Parker. Where did you get it?
My girlfriend bought it for me.
You could never wear it in Germany.
Really?
No, it's army. It's into a Nazi thing. It's really, really weird.
But we don't have as much guilt as you do. You've got to shake that. Get yourself a black president.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
Everything will be fine.
You should as well, maybe.
Yeah, we definitely should. We definitely
or Pakistani or something.
That would change things. That's a great idea,
yeah.
When people talk about racism, they always talk about black people versus white people, and there's a lot more to it than that. And I think, especially in England, I think Pakistan has become a punching bag for so many things. It's just disgusting.
You said some years ago, I guess, America would be quite boring at the moment. It was 2005. Do you think the situation right now changes something about that?
I mean, it's a really big deal to me. I'm really excited about having Obama as president. I can't even tell you. I'm still happy. I'm still smiling when I think about it, you know. I mean, I felt like, how could anybody not vote for him? The guy's brilliant, you know. And it was such a great moment to realize that so many people had, because it's a massive country, and as much as I go there and as much as I've been to every state, you know, you don't know what people are going to do. Most people are still quite racist, and most people are quite uneducated, you know, and for that to have happened just shows a massive change, or just a realization, you know.
At the moment, it's like a triumph of the people, really.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything yet, you know. It's like, hopefully he'll do something great, but at the moment it's a triumph for the people. It like blew a lot of people away that a country as, you know, generically stupid and fat as America could do something so clever and brilliant. Yes. And such a leap of faith, you know.
Exactly.
It's great, but there are certain things that are unchanging, like cultural standards. Historically, rarely improve. They just go down and down and down and down, and all we can do is try and stop them going down too far. Law and order rarely goes back as well, and they've done two things, like the terrorist thing and the smoking thing has made law and order everywhere the most important issue almost. And that's why America's so fucking square, is because you can't go to a gig without being told you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't hold that, you can't drink out of a glass cup because it's dangerous, you can't smoke. And those are things that nobody can change.
Well, I don't know. See, you know, we notice that in big cities, but when you go to the Midwest, it's different, you know. It's different. People aren't as uptight. Nobody's looking at them. Government's not checking. You know, you've got the whole middle of the country, which is like a bunch of outlaws. Yeah. And it's incredible there, you know. There's incredible stuff that just hasn't changed since the 50s and the 60s, and people are acting the same way, driving pickup trucks and living in trailers. And generally kind of got a cool view on a lot of things. So
my priority is that I and other people, should be able to live more freely.
Yeah.
And be able to choose more and have more autonomy. And I can't see that ever happening, because there's no one going to be in a position of power that can say, you know what, they were wrong about your health, you can smoke wherever you want, and you know what, they were wrong about the terrorists, we don't need this stupid law and order. You know, you don't need to take your shoes off at the airport because it's fucking stupid.
They even wanted to introduce naked scanners on European airports. Did you read that?
I had to go in one once.
I mean, because
did you?
Yeah, there was one in Heathrow. There was a couple of them in Heathrow, and they were doing a test, and they're gone now because a woman sued because she saw the picture and you could see her. She was naked. You could see every outline of her whole figure, and it was like being naked but a different color. And they pulled him out. It was in the paper, and I had to go in one. And it was really weird because it's like getting an x-ray, your whole body. And I remember them going, do you have any, health issues? Do you have any metal in your body or anything like that? And I remember just feeling like when it happened, I felt like this weird pain in my stomach, and it could have just been in my imagination, but I was quite scared, you know what I mean? And then they're gone. And that's really bad, you know? I mean, they've got to figure it out, because you are completely naked, totally. Yeah,
but London is probably the worst place because you have that CCTV or something. Thousands of cameras in London.
That's been there forever too. I mean, you've had CCTV.
I mean, we have London. Maybe this has got something to do with why the music scene is so vibrant. I don't know how, but I hope somehow that we have the worst of every possible world. It's like 1980s, like Orwell's 1984. You know, there's like cameras everywhere. But it's also really expensive, but it's also still really, really violent. So you're kind of watched by Big Brother.
But no one can ever catch anyone who stabs you.
And you're going to get stabbed and sued as well, probably. Or put in jail for defending yourself because you got stabbed in the throat.
You said punk was dead in 1979. When is independent music going to die?
Well, do you think it's alive? Independent music? Like in the 80s, when there was a reason, like because major labels were putting out terrible music, and when the major labels still had these old sort of snooty guys wearing suits as A&R men and talent scouts, and they didn't understand punk, so they just would sign bands, like terrible bands that were pretending to be punk. And it was so bad that the only way you could get people that understood this street music, this music that was coming up from nowhere, was to start their own little label from a bedroom. And that was independent music. People that independently owned a small little label. There's not that anymore. Where are the independent labels? The only one that we know is Domino, and we're signed to them. Like when people say indie, it's a kind of sound now, isn't it? It's not really, doesn't mean anything.
It's not a sound. Independence is not a sound.
I mean, it's about as useless as rock, whatever that means now. Rock and roll was a black term for sex, like bump and grind. That's what it meant. It was about sex, sex music, voodoo music. It's not that anymore, is it?
Yeah, you are kind of London celebrities, aren't you? What about being famous in London?
What I think is that it's the smallest place in the world, and outside of it, the world is so massive and incredible, and it's just funny how caught up people are in one little city, or even in one little country, and how that doesn't translate anywhere else in the world, so I tend to not take it seriously. I take it with a grain of salt.
What about being photographed in London, people, paparazzi taking pictures or something? Wouldn't there be another better place for you to live apart from London?
Well, see, there's that bad side that happens out after a nightclub. This little tiny inch of our lives gets shown to all these people, and then there's 600 square miles of our lives which is completely private and totally different, and the important part, so it's like a drop in the ocean, really.
I don't want to live in London for the rest of my life, I don't think. There's a moment when I want to, I've thought about it, moving somewhere else, but not because of that. I don't ever get to the point where I feel like, I can't handle this, I've got to move away. I'm always thinking what's just, more beneficial for me and for us, for what we're doing. And at the moment, it's living in London. And all that stuff, I don't know, it's just, I don't read those papers. It would terrify me if I'd sort of got all the press sent over to find out what people think of me.
The people that are important know about it. The people that, you know what I mean? The people that want to know can find out really easily. We do interviews, we've got a website, we can write us a letter, listen to our records, watch our video, you know what I mean? We put in enough time and energy to create a format and a place to, check it out and make up your own opinions and stuff.
I mean, anybody with half a brain can see that it says more about the media than it does about us. It's not, we're not those people. It's just how cultural standards are an all-time low, and the tabloids are lapping it up, and I don't feel good about being part of that low, but it was not my fault,
Have you, just a completely different question, have you ever thought about having a drummer?
We started a band that we wanted it to be different from other things that were going on, and I still believe in the spirit of rock and roll and of blues and voodoo and all that, and I don't want to just rehash the Kinks or the Stones. I want to take rock and roll somewhere that I believe is now, and that's what I thought was a fucking drum machine. It's genius. It's like we can do whatever we want with it, and it's just and while we're doing that, we're preserving this force that we got between us. That happens when us two get in a room with no one else. There's something that I've been in loads of bands before, and I've never had that sort of thing. I've never had that thing that I felt, wow, the sum of the parts is far greater than the individual parts. The sum is greater than the parts.
Alle Folgen zum Nachhören auf www.on3radio.de.